Okay, so really quickly, we're going to jump into the Mini T to B chassis swap. A lot of people will struggle getting into their diff to be able to change the diff fluid or check the gears to make sure they're not getting stripped out. A lot of people don't realize that you can get into the diff by taking this screw out. You pop off your spur gear and your slipper with your spring and your nut with a little 5/32 nut driver. You're going to have to take off the rear shocks. You pop those off and undo your linkage knob and pull the pins out of your hinge pins. And then you're able to get into the diff by just, like I said, pop the spur off, 1, 2 screws, and you're in. And then I started taking the top screws out and the last one on the side right there to get into the diff. And then once you're into the diff, then you can really start exploring what condition it's in, what you need to do to fix it, all those different issues. I'm really, really happy with the precision of the T. I wish we had just a T class so I could run just my T, but we don't. So, but I'm going to get into this diff and take a look, make sure that nothing's stripped out or ruined. But I use a little Singer sewing machine oil on all kinds of the metal parts just to keep them from rusting. If you look, none of my parts are rusty because I just put a little tiny bit of oil on everything. But I would highly recommend going that Dynamite 6000 kV. If you're going to put on that kV motor, you may need to change the gearing so that you don't get hot because that ESC inside will cook if it gets too hot. Brushless motor, and then go into the Savic servo with the 3D printed mount and the 3D printed horn. Very, very good. Instead of stripping your servo, you'll strip a horn, and for $5, you just put a new horn on instead of a $40 servo. So I would suggest doing that. And that's about it. But I'm going to get into the diff and keep this build going on, get that B chassis swapped here in a little bit. And I just wanted to check in and give you guys a heads up. But that's the easiest way to get into your diff.